2 years ago, my friends and I planned what was supposed to be a legendary weekend in a bustling tourist town, the kind of place where the nightlife never dies. The ocean breeze mixes with the scent of street food, and people roam the streets in flip-flops, sunglasses, and the carefree energy that only comes from being on vacation. We had searched tirelessly for the perfect rental, something close to the action, but comfortable enough to unwind in after long nights out. After combing through countless listings, we finally found what seemed like the one. A sleek, modern condo boasting luxury accommodations with an unbeatable ocean view. The pictures were dazzling. A newly renovated space with a spacious living room, a stylish kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances, and a balcony that overlooked the coastline. It wasn't cheap, but between the six of us, we could split the cost. It seemed like a worthy investment for what was going to be an unforgettable vacation. Excitement buzzed in the air as we arrived, already picturing lazy mornings on the balcony, cold drinks in hand, and wild nights that would turn into stories we'd tell for years. But as we pulled into the parking lot, our excitement took an immediate nosedive. The moment we saw the building, we knew something was off. The so-called modern condo complex was anything but. The paint was peeling away in massive flakes, exposing water-stained wood beneath that looked like it had been rotting for decades. The stairwells, which in the listing had appeared sleek and newly constructed, were rusted skeletons, barely held together by old bolts and a few prayers. The balconies that were supposedly perfect for watching the sunrise sagged ominously, tilting just enough to make you wonder if they would hold under the weight of a single chair. The railings were loose, wobbling at the slightest touch, and the entire place had an eerie, forgotten feel, like an abandoned motel that still somehow accepted guests. The parking lot was just as bad, a patchwork of cracked pavement and poorly repainted lines, littered with rusted old sedans and pickup trucks that looked like they hadn't moved in years. It was immediately clear that whatever luxury this place had once promised had been long abandoned. Still, we had already paid. There was no backing out now. We figured, at worst, it was just a place to sleep. As long as the inside was decent, we could live with the outside looking like a post-apocalyptic movie set. We started unloading our luggage, hauling coolers of drinks and bags packed with clothes when she arrived. She didn't just walk toward us. She stormed, an unstoppable force of pure irritation, her orthopedic sandals slapping against the pavement with authority. Deborah. Deborah was the final boss of HOA nightmares, the kind of person who had spent years accumulating power in the pettiest ways possible. She was a thin, wiry woman in her late 50s, her sun-damaged skin stretched tight, giving her a permanent expression of someone who had just smelled something unpleasant. Her hair was short, brittle blonde, frozen in a helmet-like shape, locked in place with enough hairspray to withstand hurricane-force winds. Her lips were pursed so tightly it looked like she hadn't smiled since the Clinton administration, and her beady eyes darted between us, scanning us as if she were searching for a reason to issue a fine. "Move that car, now!" The words snapped through the air like a whip, catching us off guard. We turned, confused. We were in the unloading zone, with the trunk still open and half our stuff still inside. One of my friends, still holding a case of beer, blinked at her. "We're still unloading." Deborah's expression didn't waver. "I am the COA president," she stated, her tone carrying the weight of someone who truly believed they held absolute power. "The limit is 10 minutes. Step out of line again, and I will have you removed. No refund." And with that, she turned on her heel and vanished into the building, leaving behind only the overpowering scent of cheap floral perfume and a suffocating aura of self-importance. We stood there, dumbfounded. She can't actually do that, right? She looks like she lives for doing shit like that. Yeah, she's definitely got a direct line to the manager of hell. That should have been our first warning. But the real warning wasn't Deborah. It was the truck. Not even 5 minutes after Deborah disappeared, a black pickup truck rolled into the lot. It was a massive, older model Ford F-250, the kind of vehicle that looked like it had been through some things. The tinted windows were so dark you couldn't see inside, and the chrome on the grill was dull and pitted, like it had spent years under the salty sea air. The truck bed was empty, save for a few scraps of rusted metal, and it idled loudly, its engine rumbling deep and low, filling the air with a sound that somehow felt like a warning. And Deborah? She beelined straight for it. She leaned into the driver's side window, speaking fast, her head snapping toward us every few seconds. The driver never got out, never even looked in our direction, just sat there, listening. Then, after a brief nod, the truck rolled away, creeping through the lot before disappearing down the street. That should have been the moment we packed up and left. Because that truck? We were going to see it again. That night, we went out, grabbing drinks at a nearby bar, trying to shake off the weird energy of the day. When we returned, everything was quiet. No signs of Deborah, no mysterious truck. Maybe we had overreacted. The next morning, that hope was obliterated. The condo next to us had descended into madness. By 10 a.m., music was pounding. The smell of BBQ filled the air, and people began pouring in from all over. It wasn't just a party. It was a full-scale, no-holds-barred, spring break-level rager. And that black pickup truck? It was back. It crawled past our unit over and over, never stopping, never lingering too long, but always making sure we saw it. Then, that night, boom! Our door slammed open so hard the walls shook. A furious, sweaty, red-faced man stormed inside, his breath heavy, fists clenched. "What the fuck are you assholes doing?" We jumped up, ready to fight. For a second, we thought it was one of the partiers from next door. Nope. It was Stan, the condo owner. And standing behind him? Deborah, smug, arms crossed, watching like a queen overseeing an execution. Stan was short and stocky, his thinning gray hair slicked back with way too much gel. His shirt was half unbuttoned, exposing a sweaty, sunburned chest, and his beer gut strained against a belt that looked like it hadn't fit in years. His face was so red it looked like he was moments away from a full-blown heart attack. "You're throwing a wild fucking party," he roared. We pointed at the actual party next door. They didn't care, so we started recording. And my friend? He calmly pulled out his phone and called the cops. Stan paled. Wait, don't call them." Too late. The cops arrived. The black truck mystery? Solved. It was Stan's. And Deborah? She wasn't just a power-hungry COA president. She had been running an under-the-table rental scheme with Stan, charging off the book's guests while keeping legitimate renters like us miserable enough to leave early. No refunds, of course. And rumor had it, she had been investigated for embezzlement. So, yeah, if you're gonna power trip, make sure you're not breaking the law.